In this video help, I'm going to be covering these screens with the exception of the property tenant, which will be covered separately. One of the things you want to be aware of is that these screens are individual screens on their own right, but they are used in this screen to make it simpler to find information for a property. And in this particular case, we're looking at this property, and there's more information I've added than in the last video where it's filled in. For example, the number of the unit is actually single family home for SFH. And then there was information that was added to here. And in this case, there was no MRLS information, but there was basic information about this particular unit. Since it's a single family home, it is not an apartment, or there's no number as far as the individual property. It is the 950 Glamis Avenue property. So what we're going to do is start out by looking at the Photos button, and this also brings up a pop-up screen. So if we click on that, what it's going to do, it's going to bring up a screen that displays the entryway into the particular home. Now in this case, you would go ahead and put in the information and description up here, and then you would also put in the date of when the photo was taken, so that you would have information that's based on when this picture was taken. Now, this is what is called a scrolling portal. What that means is basically that this scrolls to allow you to add additional photos with their information on each one of the screens. In this case, it shows the kitchen and dining area. In this case, it shows the kitchen itself. And in the next screen, it shows you the first bedroom. And here, look at this. Now we even have a map and shows the general location of the particular residence. Now what you can do in these particular screens, what they are is they're pastable, what they call container fields. And basically when you click on this, if it were on the iPad, this would say insert from library, or it may have a pop-out that comes to the side that says replace. If there's already something in here, replace the image that's already in there, and you would take then from the library screen, you would bring it in there. If this were on a desktop application like I'm using here, you would just say insert the picture, and what it would do is bring up a dialog to allow you to pick the picture from the hard drive. Now you can also insert QuickTime videos. Now the only thing with QuickTime videos is you got to keep in mind that they can get very large if you take a large amount of video, and that if it's added to the app in this screen where you run a video, you want to use that sparingly so you don't really fill up a lot of memory on your iPad. Now on a desktop machine, that wouldn't be so relevant. You can insert a different kind of a file like a PDF, but that's only a reference to the PDF, so that when you click on it, it will open the PDF from the hard drive. It will not display it in this screen. There is the ability to insert a PDF also. That is really not supported for this particular application because it would be used on the iPad. You can export the field contents, and when you click on this, it would take this particular information here as far as this video, or not video still, and allow you to save it to the hard drive or email it. Now on the iPad using FMGo, any of these screens can be exported, or if you're taking them and they're originally done with the iPad, you would have these same images in your library on the iPad under the photo library on your main screen. So you would have the ability to go ahead and send these to somebody if you needed to. Now in addition to this, you can have the exterior of the home shown. And one thing that you might not think about, but you can do this too, is to take and add the actual information from the MRLS in here as far as the photographs. And one other thing you can do is to take the directions and create a text direction and then take a snapshot of it and then put that in here where it gives you the directions turn by turn. And this can be done from the map on the like Google Maps or one of the other mapping programs that allow you to put that particular information directly into this screen. If you have questions about this particular screen, you can go ahead and contact me. Let's go to the next one. We're going to click directly on this, and it's going to bring up the property owner screen. Now, what is the property owner screen? If this property belongs to you and you're leasing or renting or doing weekend rentals or something like that, then you would be the owner. That would make you the property management and owner of the property. In this case, we're going to say that this gentleman here is actually a property manager, and this is the property that he's managing for the actual owner. And what you would do then is put the information for the property, and then the owner address and who's it managed by, and the date that you started managing the property. The city it is in, the town and county, and so forth, the information that's here. You would get the manager's contact name, phone number, cell phone number, and email. If he has a website, the manager does, you'd put in the website from there. And interestingly enough, you can actually click on this button and it will open the website that's listed right here by clicking on this. It'll open it in a separate browser, but then you would be able to go directly to whatever this field contents is here. You would have a second email address, say for example, one that was a personal email and another one was a email for the company itself. Or these could be email 1 and 2 for the actual owner who is owning the property and you're managing it for them, and maybe this is your management by your company. Then there's the manager in this case, or the owner's email. Now down here on this area, this is the bills and expenses that are charged to the property or credits that are coming to the property based on things that may be returns or credits for services or whatever. Now what this is, these are the billing items to and from the client, meaning that this is a home inspection, a yard cleaning, or whatever you're doing for the home. Maybe in this particular case, there was a credit for some reason, maybe something was credited back to the property from somebody, and that would be a credit. This gives you a running total tabulation of all the expenses and credits for this owner and his property. Now, obviously, there's a report that will generate a report for the property, and I'm going to explain those later on, how you run the report and how you can manage it by a date or date range in order to give that to the customer for all the bills that are due that he need to be paid. Say, for example, you paid this for the owner, and then you're going to send him a bill for your services cost and the billing that you have here. You can actually add your own things in here, like maybe you did a home inspection and you charge for those. You charge them back to the customer. You would do that as a separate service. And then there'd be the month-to-month management fee that you're doing that would be listed here, that would be a bill that would be in here, and it'd be a month-to-month type of a situation where you would show the cost of that and then bill the client on that basis month-to-month or quarterly, or how you get paid. If you look at the end of these rows, there's a button that says Portal. If you need to edit a row or delete a row, you would go to that portal record and then delete that record in that portal for that row. Do not delete rows from this screen or try to delete rows from this screen. The information would not update properly if you do it or try to do it from this screen. Another thing is, do not delete records at the level of this record, because if you delete the record thinking you're deleting a row, you're actually deleting the entire record, and that would really be a disaster for you, because it would take all the information from all these screens that you're adding data to, and it would remove them. So you do not delete records from the main screen. Be very careful of that. You can delete the subordinate things like portal records one by one if you want to. And there's also an owner's portal, which is the data from here in a portal record, where for some reason, if you need to edit, or in a worst case situation, maybe you made an error and created this record. If you made an error and you added a record and started adding record and found out it was duplicated, you can always go back and use this record and edit the entire thing and remove the information from the owner's record and or the property record itself if you created it incorrectly and made a duplicate of the same property. That does happen if you're not paying attention, but obviously you can see that down here the properties are listed. So if you're looking for a particular property, you'd want to do that first. The next thing we're going to do is go to owner's notes. And in this case, owner's notes is a separate little pop-up. And in this case, you can see there's a sample note in here where the owner requires a cleaning to be done between residents if they had pets in the home. This gets the home nice and freshly clean, and he's telling you basically he will either pay for it or the tenant will pay for it, depending upon the circumstances of the cleaning. People that have been managing property for a long time know that there are some people that just totally trash out a house, and you should have a cleaning deposit to cover that kind of stuff that you may have to clean up. Let's go to the next screen, which is the Property Manager screen. Now, this is kind of a unique screen. It has dual purposes. For example, if you're moving a tenant into a property, and when you go to the property, what you want to do is itemize anything that is not correct. When I say not correct, there is an issue that needs to be corrected. And what that means, first of all, you put in the manager's name, the date that it was inspected. You would put in the tenant's occupy date, whenever he's supposed to occupy or did occupy. Then you would do space notes. And what space notes mean is one might be the kitchen, one might be the bedroom, the garage, the yard, whatever, the barbecue that's outside, maybe a brick barbecue. If there's damages or there's something that's irregular and needs to be repaired or fixed, you would want to walk around with the new tenant and make sure that everything is properly done and everything is, all the fixtures are working, all the water is working, and everything. That you can do this on a total basis for the whole property until you find something that needs correction. Then you would create a record for that. If you have your iPad or digital camera, take a picture of whatever the issue is and add it in here by inserting it from the iPad, and then put in the action for correction, or is it corrected. If it is not corrected, in the portal record you can do more detailed information about what needs to be done before it is actually fixed. And the space notes should include what the information is as far as what was done. Now, in the case when I said a dual situation, if you're doing an inspection when the tenant is leaving, you would reverse this, and then you would have pictures, in this case, for the property issue that you find when the tenant's leaving, and then you would get them to sign on the iPad. You can actually have them sign right here that this is something that they're recognizing that they caused damage or needs something that needs repair that was caused by the tenant, and they should be charged for that particular thing before you release the house as far as the tenant is concerned. He should lose his deposit, or if there's additional damages, then you should collect that before you allow them to leave the area. There's also a report that can be run, which we'll cover separately, about the items for this particular location. It's very important to keep the dates as far as the date range and what is being done. You can have as many records as you want between each entry into the property and exit from the property, and then you will have a running history of all the things that were found or fixed on that property that are related to the tenant and the management of the property. If you do site inspections where you go out during the lease or rental and inspect the property, you can also have those included in this as far as that's concerned. I'm going to cover the property tenant separate, that screen, and then there's the maintenance. Basically, this is similar to the one we just left for the property manager, but this one is maintenance, where there is a prescribed set of things that need to be done. Maybe a downspout has fallen off the house, or some kind of a repair is required that is not due to inaction by the tenant as far as the thing is concerned. And what you would do here, and you see these underlined things, the status and service company, these will bring up a separate edit screen for the drop downs that are included in here, where you can add to these particular items that are listed in this particular screen, and or the service companies in this case. If you go over to the service company and add a new service company, that particular information would be used in the main screen as far as that screen is concerned for property maintenance. And that would give you the ability to pick one of the property companies. You would put in the labor and materials cost, and then this would be the service item total based on the labor and materials that are required to repair or replace whatever needs to be repaired. If this is something that will be charged to the owner, for example, for services, then that would go in the owner's property report that I just showed you earlier as far as an expense to the property owner. If it's a item that is going to be charged to the tenant for whatever, then that should be in here, and that should be a credit to the owner so that it could be paid in service, but the money comes to the owner as far as a credit on his thing to go against whatever the fees were. Now this might be something that maybe the manager does. He fixes something, and if he doesn't charge the owner, or if he does charge the owner, and yet the tenant paid something to get it serviced or repaired, whatever's left over from that service cost would go back to the owner. You can see what I'm talking about. And then there's a report that you could run in order to send this information to the owner for the transaction that was related to a service cost. Okay, this covers the screens that are currently in the main screen, and we're going to separately cover the reports and the property management, but I do want to point out there are several screens that we will also cover with the video help. Thank you for taking this video.